Okay, yes. So today's webinar, I'm very excited about it. This is a very, very important and sometimes often overlooked topic. Okay, everyone is an entrepreneur. They throw themselves into their business and they're doing it. There's always a founder that starts a business and the business is in their head. They're the ones doing it, but as the business starts to grow, you want to bring people on to work in the company. All of a sudden it becomes complicated. You have to train them and you have to get them, put them, get them, get them up to speed. And a lot of times in a lot of businesses, there's a lot of moving parts, and because everything is in the head, to, to share it with people becomes complicated. And then those that work with you, and aren't sure of exactly what to do. And so there's an important aspect of business which sometimes requires an investment, and that is to create processes and systems to implement into your business that are documented in order to be able to then delegate and be able to create efficiency in the business. So we're honored today to have a special guest, and this is Moishy Klein. Moishy Klein is somebody who is an expert on business efficiency and how to create systems and processes in your business. And he's going to share today these, tips and ideas on the topic. As always in these webinars, we want to thank the Crown Heights Community Council and Rabbi Eli Cohen, if he's on, for their partnership in these programs. And the webinar runs for approximately 40 minutes, followed by a Q&A session. If you have questions during the webinar, please put them into the chat box. I will be monitoring the questions, and if they're important to be addressed on the spot, I'll bring them up to Moishy. Otherwise, save most of your questions for the end of the presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Moishy, please come on, introduce yourself, and share your screen.
Shalom Aleichem. First, thanks for the introduction. I think a big part of the content you just took away by that, saying how important those processes are and those systems. Just to get started, I want to thank Crown Heights Young Entrepreneurs and Reb Shua for the opportunity. It's amazing what Crown Heights Young Entrepreneurs does, what CYGA does with these monthly webinars and all the other great things they do for people in the community that want to get to the next level, get their feet on the ground, start a business, grow their career, find a job, so on and so forth. It's really amazing, and it's immense chesed. We know the saying is, if you go fishing with someone, if you teach him to fish, he's set for life, and that's literally what Crown Heights Young Entrepreneurs does. And Baruch Hashem, I have the opportunity to be part of this great work that they do. I also like to thank all the participants of the webinar. There's a lot of excitement and buzz going around, and you're taking your time and you're committed to to being part of your business, being really part and present of your business and improving your business. And it's great to be among people who want to work on their business. I would like to get the crowd a little bit involved, and if you could just drop in the comments in the chat where you're from, so you get to know a little bit about each other and see where we're all up to in our business. So please go ahead and share where you're from.
Yeah, so click on the chat messaging feature and then just put your name and your company name. Is that
Sure.
Yes, okay. All right. So we have Yukusil from New York City. And
it's perfectly fine to be shy.
Yes, Tova.
Other side of town. A lot of New York City. That's exciting. PA. We're neighbors.
Huh.
United States counts. PA. Okay. Nice. Perfect. Let's get on a little bit. If you could just tell me to gauge the content a bit better where you are now in your business. If you're just starting off, if you're a bit in the process a little bit, if you're already into the systems and processes. business support and training. Oh, we got some from across the border. Okay, that's very
Yeah,
common. That's very common. Anyone else want to take part? We'll make it a bit easier for everyone to be part of it.
yeah. Just put A, B, or C, A, B, C, or D in the chat box. So we have a
Baruch Hashem,
bunch of
dialogue is
C's.
scaling. Baruch Hashem, that's great. Wow. Wow. Okay, that means that we're in the right room. People are getting their businesses off the ground, and now we're facing a challenge that is a bracha. It's a real bracha to have this challenge in a business. I'm going to skip the rest of those questions. I just want to know one more question. The industry you are in, to see a bit more about the audience.
Yeah, so just put your number basically. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
4, 5, 6. Just you
So we
can put
got
that
someone
in.
in other. Tov, you mind sharing what you do? Got some retail, home care. Baruch Hashem. Wait another second. Seems like we have a diverse crowd, and we have a diverse places where the Olam is up doing their business.
3 more just joined. So.
School, education. That's interesting. Not-for-profit sometimes attack efficiency of wholesale. Wow. Okay, this is a very diverse crowd. I'm a bit in the hot seat. Usually I do this for companies, for 5 to 10, 15 employees at once. So this is definitely happy to have the challenge. Okay. So a bit about myself. My name is Moishy Klein. I grew up in Borough Park. I'm actually now calling from Cancun, and I got the opportunity from Shia. I had a vacation plan, but I decided to take on this opportunity. And what I do, I help businesses get organized. There's a lot of fancy words how we can use it, and a lot of malice, a lot of pros of having a business organized. But we could just say getting business organized from a processes and systems point of view. So I just want to share a bit what I do. So I apply Six Sigma. I don't know if anyone heard about Six Sigma. Six Sigma is, let's call it the science of having a efficient business. Trainual is a tool which is used to, let's call it, to create a playbook. You can call it an operating manual. You can call it instructions. I like to call it the IKEA instructions for your business, and Monday.com for systems. Now, I just a note on that. Monday is not the only one out there, and this is not about this conversation. This webinar is not about Monday. There's a lot of great softwares out there, and whatever you use, if you use it consistently, use it for the right reasons, it's great. So let's get started for today. I'm going to try to get through all of this. What is a business? The 3Ds, which I preach a lot about, some actionable takeaways, and hopefully I'll be able to answer all your questions. My goal today is to help you run and build a smooth business. A lot of businesses usually end up with let's call it, not being smooth when the business scales. We hire someone, we don't know exactly what we want from them. So we start asking all these questions, and we start seeing that, and even when we do hire, we do tell the new employee, please do X, Y, and Z, and they come back every 15 minutes with another question. Or they don't do it the right way, so we do it at night after hours, we do it again. The goal is to remove all that, and when you go on Chalamoychip with your family, you don't have to take your business along on your phone or whatever it is. You can really rely that you have a system and process in your business, and we could go along. So I'm going to spend a minute on what is a business. We could go into the conversation right away about businesses, processes, and systems and all that. But we all know that to have a good conversation, we need to have a definition of terms. And sometimes a business for some people mean different things. So let's, for this conversation, try to create a definition of terms what a business is. So what is a business? I think a business has 3 parts to it. Number 1 would be solving a problem. So that would be the solution the company brings or the business brings to the marketplace. That could be the product, that could be the service, that could be the combination of both. Is it custom furniture? Is it medical supplies? Is it a grocery store? Is it accounting? That's the solving a problem. And then there is a second part of delivering it consistently and efficiently. So once we know, okay, this business does custom furniture. So you have to make sure that every piece of furniture that you make custom, or if it's not custom, that it gets manufactured and delivered the same way. Every business, every client, every customer, every patient gets the same customer experience. We're now in a world where people expect to have 100% seamless experience every single time. I know for myself, if I walk into a bagel shop and I get one day a tuna sandwich that has more spice or less spice, or the bagels aren't baked through, I will not walk into that store again. We're now in a world, in a generation, that people know that you can have 100% seamless experience, predictable experience, each and every single time. And I'm not talking about someone says, okay, I don't want to hire anyone. Whatever I do, I want to do it on my own. Just keep in mind that your clients expect to have the same exact experience. I don't know if there are any accountants on the webinar, but just imagine right now that one year your accountant answers all your questions, and then next year they're all nervous. What happens is, okay, if I can't talk to this guy, I can't talk to my accountant, then maybe he's not the right accountant for me. People expect that consistent. If it's a bagel shop, if it's a doctor's office, if it's the wait time, all these things from the client side. And number three is generating a profit. If we're not making money, it's most probably not a business. Now, just one level deeper of the what of a business, of the solving a problem. So I think there's three parts to it. I'm not very big on marketing, but what I've seen, and I'm sure other people can maybe um, dive deeper into this. The first thing is I would say is the right problem. So the right problem is very, very important. If the people don't need it, or maybe you're catering to people who have can afford wants, then it's not really a good idea. It's not the right problem. So a very simple thing is a gas station on a busy highway. But again, and in that city or that town, everybody's driving Teslas, it's still not a good idea. And again, the failure would be a gas station in Amish town. Nobody drives a car there. Maybe they need gas for their farm. I'm not exactly sure, but it's not just not a good idea. It's a good problem, but not the right problem. The right people. So people have to actually be able to afford and need your service. So very simple, what we can all relate to is a kosher grocery store. So I would like to always say, potato kugel Thursday night in Brooklyn is the hottest item of the market. Potato kugel in Africa, any time of the year, any time of the day, is just not a good idea. Nobody's going to buy it. So it has to be the right problem for the right people. And number three is the right price. So obviously, charging too much and charging too little, there's all conversations. And when someone thinks about a business, I'm going to go into whatever it is this something that's going to solve a problem for people? Am I catering to the right people? And am I taking a price, taking a fee, collecting enough money that it makes sense all the time and effort putting into it? Let's jump to the next one, the how. How can you deliver? I would say this is my area of expertise. How do you make sure that you're delivering this, whatever you decide to do, for how much ever money, for whichever kind of people, that you're doing it consistently and efficiently? So processes is number one. What the focus is that even if you don't want to scale, you don't want to hire people, that your customers should get that experience as we spoke before. And number three is when you scale, it should actually be controlled and your business shouldn't break or you shouldn't break in the process. On the profit side of things, now a business that's not profitable, it doesn't make any money, usually it's not going to last very long. It has to be in finance, in the profit, there's a lot of different components, the cash flow, profit and loss, all these different things. Not my area of expertise. All we could agree to is that the business has to make more money than the expenses. It should be a good business. Just to cap this section off, if there's no problem, or there's no consistency, or no profit, I think whatever we see right here will all agree that it's just an idea. It's just a balagan. There's no consistency and there's no profit. What I usually like to say, it's or chesed or a hobby. It's not a business. Now, we know what a business is all about. Let's jump into the 3Ds. So, what are the 3Ds? The 3Ds is define, document, and delegate. Now, this can happen, I would say, on two levels. Number one, it can happen on the business level. It'll help you define the three things that we spoke about before: the what, the how, and the profit. And you could define that, and you could document that, and you could delegate it if it's teams. So that would mean, let's say, having a very good piece of paper, what your business is doing, for who it's doing it, for which people, and the price point. Again, if a company does everything, it does nothing. Everything is nothing. And then I'll just say this once, that niching down and drilling down and sub niching always leads to better business. Always leads to better business. Obviously, there is a point in a business where you should accept and do more. At a point, you should always remember that I have certain people that I want to provide certain product or service for a certain price. So that would be defining on, let's call it the business level, and then on a process level, if it's sales, if it's taking inbound calls, if it's being the receptionist in a school, if it's selling a medical supply or whatever it is, what is that process? Document it in a way that it's accessible, people could read it, everybody could access that, let's call that knowledge base, that playbook, and delegate it. Let the right people take care of whatever they're hired for, they're getting paid for. It is sometimes hard to swallow, but I don't think everyone is good at everything. Some people are good at finance, some people are good at customer service, some people are good at creative, and we all want to get the right people doing the right thing for us. Let's jump into it. The four functions of a business. Now, a lot of people might get a bit excited at what they see right here, that my business is different. I would like to agree that every single business has those four functions, and in every business, it looks a bit different. Everyone needs marketing, everyone needs sales, everybody needs operations, and everybody has finance. Marketing would be the awareness, people to know that you're out there. Sales is taking those people who know you exist and turning them into paying clients. Operations is delivering on that promise. If it's a grocery store, people walk in, they want the fresh milk. If it's an accountant who wants to sign the contract, they deliver on the timely filing. On the finance side, collecting the money for the service and product rendered. So in marketing, there's usually four parts to it. Sometimes there is more. And again, this is not concrete. In every business, it looks a little bit different or even very different. You have qualifying leads. You have the brand trust. Now, brand trust is very, very important. And the same is with brand awareness, people to know that you exist out there, your business exists, and to explain to the people out there the best, to the best of your ability, what you do. That's of having a very clear message, what you do, how you do it, for who you do it, what your price is, and what the value proposition is. The best way to think of that about that is the before and after. So take someone who cleans window shades before pipes. Everybody knows that before the window shades were yellow and now they're white. It's very simple. Construction. Before there was no house, now there is a house. Whatever service, whatever product you do, it should be very, very clear what the value proposition is. What's the before, what's the after, and the money has to match that. In the sale, you should have the very clear offer. That's from what you're going to deliver. Number two is your pricing. You can add your timeline. You can add all that things. There's an agreement. Sometimes there is a signature, sometimes there's not a signature. And number four is, which is the most important for the operations, is the order details. The order details then becomes what the operations takes to produce the service or product that you promised. So number one would be taking all that details from the sale and delivering the product and the service. Number two, which is extremely important, is customer satisfaction. We all want raving fans about our business and service. And number three would be documentation for finance. Imagine bookkeeping is done outside of your office. finance, whoever is doing your invoices has to get a notification, an email, or a memo that this client should get an invoice for whatever the product is for that amount of money. You want to send out invoices. Obviously, the most important thing maybe is collecting the money. You want to track all your finances and do bookkeeping. Now, again, in businesses, things might look different from industry to industry. Now, on the process side, let's dive a bit deeper. So, defining processes. I would say the most important and the easiest step to start would be with a previous slide, having your marketing, your sales, your operations and finance, and have the 5 or 6 things that is the most important, and just list your processes. If it's a pen and paper, Excel sheet, whatever it is, have a list of it. Provide a very brief description. How often does it happen? I have it here down as daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, but sometimes it's by client, by project. Or maybe if an inspection happens, that's when that process kicks in. Or maybe when a new shipment comes in of whatever the product is, that's when we check the shipment for quality control to make sure that the right thing was delivered. And this is also very important to think about is inputs and outputs. Think of baking a cake. So I would say is list your process would be what kind of cake is it? A very brief description would be what it tastes like. Frequency, how often do you make it? The inputs would be the ingredients, and the outputs would be what kind of cake does it come out? Is it chocolate? Do you want to decorate it? So you know very clearly I'm putting in flour, sugar, salt, and I'll have this very good cake coming out. So think about any business. Think of project management is a very vague term, but I think about invoicing. The process is called invoicing. The brief description is sending out invoice to the client in a timely manner. And that could be depending how the billing is set up and the pricing is set up for the client or in the company, how frequent that happens. The inputs would be the client information, the agreement, the details of the product of the service, if it was delivered, it wasn't delivered, and the output would be is an invoice that the client knows exactly why they're getting that invoice for. Now, document. Here's where things go a little bit outside your head into a piece of paper or a Loom video or whatever it is. I would say the first thing people should know in any point and trying to have and hopefully getting to have a better business, a more efficient business, a sustainable business, a consistent business is it will not be perfect. It will definitely not be perfect round one, round two, or round three. Even with the clients that I have, I would say it takes at least one or two, maybe even three tries to get things done the right way. So it might take time, but expect the result, if you stick to it, is going to be amazing and it's really, really worth it. So really the actionable steps of documenting processes is just writing them down. So a very important thing is, especially what I understand, most of the people here are solopreneurs or very small teams, under 5 people, is do it while the business is small. You could get away on a Friday, an hour a week, maybe it's Sunday, maybe it's the first hour of the week on Monday before things are crazy, before things are busy. Do it before you need to. Once you actually hire that person, once the business grows, people will be looking for that clarity. And as the business owner, as an entrepreneur, you will be the one that they will be looking for the answers. So do it as soon as you can. Now, when to write them down? When things start becoming repetitive. Now, a lot of us will think that nothing is repetitive in our business. I would say 80% of the businesses are the same, 20% is different. So focus a lot to, I would say, to dumbify, dummy proof everything that you could give, everything of that 80% that you could delegate, write it down. Now, another time that could be very, very good time to document processes is your first hire or your second hire. Is as you delegate, as you give them another bullet point on that job description, or you give them another part of your calendar, of your inbox, of your invoicing, that's a very good time to ask them, how do you do it? Document it, so you're going to hire the next bookkeeper, the next assistant, the next salesman, you have what to go off to. Now, how to structure processes, how does it look like? I would say checklists are amazing. Step by step is amazing. Screenshots, Loom videos, Scribe. Loom gives you 25 free videos for 5 minutes. You got literally at your fingertips 25 processes that you do that you could video yourself and have it there for the right time or the right person comes around to delegate that task. Now, a very important thing is when you write down the processes, to write down, I call it forks, the decision points, the approvals. So sometimes people will say every purchase needs an approval, but at some point you're going to say that site manager, that purchaser, or after their 90 days, after their 60 days, after their 30 days, can make a purchase of up to $500, $50,000, according to the step by step. But if it's more, or it's a different vendor, then they have to come to ask permission. Then they should come for approval. That's when they should come check back. And that's a very good thing because you don't want your employees, you don't want your team to have to come back to you. Another very important thing is timelines and deadlines. You never want something to sit. We always know that we are or on the way up or on the way down. The same thing is with the business, and the same thing is with processes in the business. A lead is or getting warmer or colder. A project is or progressing or just falling back. You're losing momentum. Whatever it is, it's or going up in the right direction or it's not. So timelines, let's say in the CRM, you don't want a lead to sit in a certain phase for more than 3 days. Once in 3 days, every lead has to get a nudge. Think about those time frames. So where to store them? So I like Trainual, so I would say Trainual, but you don't have to start there. Trainual is expensive. Some people like Notion. Google Docs is very, very good, a very good starting point. You can start. They have now all these different building blocks and smart chips that makes Google Docs very dynamic, and you literally start there. But even before you get to all those cool features, just putting the words in there, having your bullet points, and just putting the time in to create them. Obviously, organizing them by department and role, which might be a very, very good starting point, is to think what departments would my business have, what roles would my business have, and just start right from there will give you a very, very good starting point. Now, which is very important is updates. As the business grows, as technology changes, as a new product, a new regulation, new compliance, which we're all affected by, how can you update? Let's say you have 5 people outsourced to do bookkeeping or do project management or whatever it is, and you are changing something in your business. How can you send it out to them that all your whole team will be updated what's going on? Now, talking about updating, when to update those pieces of paper, when to update those processes, those documented processes. Some people say an annual process audit is enough. I don't think so. I think every quarter, even if it's something that doesn't really change, you might have someone on your team that has a better idea how to go about something, and you don't want to sleep on it. Now, obviously, when a new software is introduced to the company, or even a new phone system, or a new app for time tracking, change the process. And which is also extremely, extremely important. Take feedback from the people who execute the process. They might tell you that they're doing it all the time. Maybe we could skip a step and the outcome is the same, and you don't need that step because it doesn't really matter. Sometimes it does. Another very important person and group of people to take feedback for your processes is your customers. If a customer says that they're waiting too long for something, take a look at your processes. If a vendor is saying that it's taking a very long time to process an order or to get paid, look at your processes. There might be a lot of room for improvement when you look at those, when you look for that feedback. Now, might be eye-opening that delegating doesn't mean hiring people, in my opinion. So the first thing when I look at delegating is time management. Delegate your time. All of us have that much time we can put into our business before we really have to take a break. If it's 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, if it's 8 hours during business hours and 4 hours after hours, if it's Matzah Shabbos, if it's Erev Shabbos, if it's Sunday, whatever it is, it's that much time. Take a calendar and look, my business, I have to do marketing, I have to post on LinkedIn, I have to pay ads, I have to talk to someone who creates ads for me, I have to call people, whatever it is. I have to do sales. I have to follow up on my sales, on my leads. I have to create new leads. I have to actually deliver for all the people that they're actually paying me. I have to pay. I have to actually produce that graphic. I have to do the website. I have to manufacture the cheer. I have to ship the order, and I also have to send invoices. So something very simple is if you set up your business in a way where you're only collecting invoices on the 30th or the 15th or the 1st, the only day you're touching finance is just that. Once a month, twice a month. That's it. And maybe the day you get your statement from your bank and you reconcile your QuickBooks or whatever you use. Think about time management as you delegate and square away time to do different things. Just in a note for a lot of us on this call, you must probably need 50% of your time on a marketing and sales. And I would say we have another 40 on your operations and 10% on other admin like stuff like finance. As small businesses, that's usually what ends up happening. Just to create that momentum for us, we're going to spend a lot of time on marketing and sales. Number two would be software. Now, this could be like the can of worms. If you use Google Sheets, if you use Monday Asana, if you use Builder's Trend, whatever the name is, there's a lot that software could do for you. I'm not even talking about AI or ChatGPT, just software could do a lot for us. Now, let's talk about when you do need other people to get involved. So the first thing is I would say is collaboration. Just imagine if you have a warehouse and you have 500 orders that have to go out, and you don't have a big team to fulfill those orders. I think a lot of people would reach out to friends and family. So that's for some things like packing orders. But there are definitely people in your circle that you could ask, can you please help me? The people around you believe in your business. Before you start hiring people, and you need, before Pesach, before Sukkot, in your season, you need some time, ask someone. Maybe someone has a daughter that's off from school. Maybe you have a brother-in-law that just got laid off from a job and he can help you. That could be a very good resource to start delegating. Number four is outsourcing. Outsourcing is a lot cheaper, doesn't cost so much money, and usually, if it's standard business processes, you can find someone. Now, I want to say two things about outsourcing. Number one, outsourcing will not solve any of your problems if you don't have a process. Doesn't matter if it's from the Philippines, South America, Mexico, South Africa, doesn't matter. If you won't be able to give them a process, sending your part of your business 4,000 miles away to someone who you have never met, to someone who speaks a different language, it's likely it will fail. It doesn't have to fail, but it can fail. So that's number one. Number two is that take your time. Take your time. There's a lot of great companies out there. Reach out to one, reach out to two, tell them I'm shopping around. They will tell you what they're willing to do, how far they're willing to go if you're just shopping around. Take two or three interviews, ask questions, try to make it as you're hiring someone to sit 5 feet away from you for 5 hours a day for 5 days a week. That's how you should approach outsourcing. And employees is obviously the most expensive, but could be the most rewarding if done right, is hiring the right people at the right time. So small businesses, when you think about processes, systems, your first go-to might be, I'm not hiring anyone. You still could do so much. You could bring your business up so many levels by doing good time management and using software, project management software, task management software, using your calendar, Calendly, all these things to get you to operate your business a lot more efficient. Now, for this section, the 5 takeaways is that clarity drives efficiency. When you know what you're doing, for whom you're doing it, how much you're charging, and the details for each and every one of those three things, it will drive a very efficient business. No, saying no might hurt, but if you have your clarity, it's going to pay off. Documentation is your playbook. Now, I say playbook because processes and other words sometimes need a very long explanation. Think of IKEA instructions. Your business doesn't have to be more complicated than that. Delegating is a must. At some point in your business, some point in your life, you're not going to want to do more, or you won't be able to do more, or what you think you can do as of today. So delegating, if it's time management, software, outsourcing, employees, whatever it is, that's part of getting the company from a quantity point of view, growing the business. Number four, I touched on a little bit, but processes must evolve. They must grow as the business goes. Now, from a technology point of view, if you use any kind of software, everyone is adding AI. From QuickBooks to Monday.com to Gemini everyone is adding AI. If you want to leverage AI and you see it could be valuable, or any update in software updates happen all the time. Or sometimes you've been using software A for 10 years in your industry, and something happens to that software, or you decide to change, or a better one comes out, you have to update those processes. Number five, I think, is the most important, is small fixes take you the long way. I don't think any one of us could take 5 days off to only work on your business instead of working in your business. So if it's the hour a week, or it's the quarterly review on your processes, those little steps will lead you to the big wins. Can we just drop a thumbs up in the chat if we're following along? So we know that we have everyone along with us. Perfect. Good. Perfect. Great. Great. Let's move on. So actionable takeaways. So sometimes, including myself, we join a webinar and it sounds very, let's call it very out of touch. You're talking about sales, but I can't do anything about it. You're talking about processes, I can't do anything about it. Finance, I wish I had the finance to be able to manage the finance. I'm a very big believer that every single business must have process and systems to scale. And at every point in your business journey, if you're starting off, you have a bigger team, if you're past the startup phase, if you're the small business, medium business, large business, everybody could use process and systems. So let me share a bit of what I feel is very important, what I think everybody could do after this call, if it's tomorrow, if it's Friday, whenever it is. Number one would be, take 15 minutes a day. Don't make it the last 15 minutes of the day. Make it maybe, what I do is personally every Friday, I take an hour, in a very simple Google Sheets, I write down, what are the things I did this week? What did I do? I prepared for the webinar. I posted on LinkedIn. I commented. I sent out an invoice. I scheduled a discovery call. I went out with the client. I had an emergency meeting with whatever it is. Just write it down. If you do this for 4 weeks, you will most probably have every single task, every single thing your business needs to go on, to continue. If it's from a marketing point of view, if it's from a sales point of view, if you're a solopreneur, if you have a small team, you get your whole team to do this, you will have within 3 to 4 weeks everything listed. Now, it's going to be very eye-opening. If you get your team bought in to do this, it's extremely eye-opening to see what am I and what are my people spending their time doing. When it's, well, let's say you have myself, when I do it, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I could outsource that. I could delegate it. I don't have to do it every day. I could do it once a month. You can also see the things that are piling up because I had to do this for the client. I had to follow up with a lead. I had to send the invoice, but I didn't do it. And you look at those and you can see should have a list of most probably 100 items after 4 weeks, 100 items. Some will be a repeat. I promise some will be a repeat. And it's going to be eye opening to see that sometimes you're going to write it in one word or a different word. You're going to look at it after 4 weeks. You're going to see so much of what I do. I would say most probably 80%, maybe there's only be 60% of what I do is literally rinse and repeat. It could be a very, very eye opening. Just that is huge. Step number 2 is categorizing it by where does it belong? Is that a marketing? Is that sales? Is that operations? Is that finance? And how important is it? So a very simple thing, signing up for a in-person networking event. And for a lot of the small businesses, it's extremely important to do in-person networking. And that falls under marketing. So you can make a very simple process, a very simple goal, a very simple budget, how much time, how much resources I'm going to spend on in-person networking events once a month, up to $200, up to 5 hours a month, whatever it is. You just have a process right then and there. It's very, very simple. Just categorize it by function. It's going to also help you a lot when you start delegating. When you have just that 100 tasks categorized by function, by importance, right away when I hire a salesman, those are the 7 things I want them to do. The 7 sales high value things I want them to do. And if they have time, the medium ones, and if it's a great salesman, they can do the low hanging fruit, that would be amazing. That starts giving you a lot of structure to what you do each and every day. I'm so sorry about this, but I'm going to just continue anyway. That I would say the third thing would be is keeping it, automating it, or delegating. Oops, here you go, and delegating it. So keeping would be focusing on the 20% that you're unique. The 20% that drives you, the 20% that gives you the most chias, the 20% that only you can do, which I disagree, but let's say that only you can do. Automate. Am I going to get a CRM? Am I going to pay the $19.99 a month and it's going to free me up all that time? It's going to make my book of contacts, my leads so much more, so much worth so much more. Am I delegating it? I'm going to outsource it. I'm going to put a time block for that all the time. And there are the 3 things that you could do when it comes to automating without using a lot of complicated tools. Number 1 would be creating Gmail labels and rules. If you do that, please put a thumbs up in the chat. Do you have Gmail rules and labels? Most of us use our email as our to-do list. We're so focused on this is incoming and that's incoming that we forget about our calendar. We forget about what we actually have to do. Your email should not dictate your schedule. Your email should not do that. Your calendar should. Having labels, having rules helps so much in that aspect. I would say number 2 would be Google Forms and Google Sheets. When you sign on a client and you need to collect from them their basic billing information, make it simple to everyone and send them in Google Forms. When you need anything, whatever it would be, you could use Google Forms for so many things, and it's literally free. literally free. It's just use it. It's out there for us to use. I think number three could be a bit more complicated, but anyone who is a bit familiar with Google Docs, just open right now Google Docs and add the @ symbol. You're going to have a whole bunch of things, dates, locations, building blocks. You could do some task management, a project management. You could link different people. You could link different files, different documents. You could make that sheet like literally a live at GSM. You could do so much with that. So those three things, emails and labels, which you could just Google it, YouTube, in 5 minutes you'll have three rules going on, five labels going on, and you're going to want to do more. Think, what information am I always collecting? Can I use Google Forms for it to make me look more professional and a lot easier? Number three, I would say, is smart chips and building blocks. Use Google Docs and just put in that @ symbol. Another thing I would add is Calendly. Calendly is a time saver, and I'm sure that everybody uses it on the call. If not, just open your free account. And if you use Google Calendar, you could have one calendar link for free, even on your personal account, even if it's not a business account.
I'm sorry, just to interrupt you. Does Microsoft? I'm seeing that those the chips of those things on the Google Docs. That's amazing. I'm a little bit buried in Microsoft. Does Microsoft have anything like that, or?
I'm not sure. I am not sure. I could check it out. I'm send you a link. I mean, they'll probably have something similar with Copilot that you could do a lot with. The Copilot is where you could do a lot more. That's called collaboration and just comments in a Google in a Microsoft Excel file or Word file.
Okay, this is cool. I never saw this before. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Um, just a quick question as we come to an end. Where do you struggle the most? Some people start, but they can't keep to it. Some people come to a point where they have their processes, but what do I use? Is it Asana? Is it Microsoft? Is it Google? And some people, just when they're starting, we're so in the grind of the day-to-day of our business, we don't know where to start. Okay, that means you came very far, Bela. That if you're at a point where you're not sure about business, about software, that's great. That's great. Okay, anyone else? Okay, consistency is definitely something a lot of people struggle with. Those who get past it, I would say use a calendar, block off some time if you can. That will really, really help you. Anyone else? Perfect. So I have just my opinion, 5 books that I think everyone on this call should read or get an audiobook version. Number one is The E-Myth, which a lot of what I do is based on The E-Myth. The E-Myth is literally stands for entrepreneurial myth. Most people that start businesses were not skilled and were not equipped and weren't born natural business leaders. The E-Myth goes through a story of someone named Sarah that has a bakery, and all she really wanted to do was bake cookies and cakes, and over time she saw that she has to do so much more than that as she opened another branch, and we could all grow into be better leaders and better business managers. That's number one. Number two is personal MBA. We always see someone who has an MBA, we think, wow, you spent 4 years and getting it, you must be very smart. I think Josh Kaufman is a Jew, is a Yid, one of us. He wrote a book. He goes through almost 200 or 150 business topics. He covers each in less than 2 pages. So whatever you do, you could find at least 10 topics, 15 topics that you could relate to, and they have resources for more. Some people might get a bit offended here with Traction, EOS. It's a great book, no matter if you do or don't implement EOS. EOS is a great set of tools. You could do a lot of downloads from the website. Check it out. The lean startup is what everyone should operate in that mindset is keeping your business as, let's call it, as skinny as possible. Keep your business skinny as possible and just let your business expenses and your team grow as the business grows. And the fifth book is the business playbook. The business playbook is all about documenting processes. It's an easier read. You can listen to it most probably 5 hours or less. Get those books, borrow from a library, get an audio book. Those are 5 great resources to get you to the next level in your business. I really thank you for your time and for your patience and answering the polls. I want you to remember that the small changes is what leads to great results. And remember, your business should work for you. You shouldn't work for the business. I thank you again for the opportunity. And if you have any questions, please send them my way.
Okay, so first of all, why don't you keep up your contact information or something so people can see
Sure.
that. So first of all, thank you very much. This was an excellent preparation, very meticulously prepared, and I enjoyed it tremendously, especially all those practical tips that you gave. It was exactly what I envisioned for this class you delivered, and it was very nice. We're going to open up now to Q&A. But here, if you have a question, just raise your hand, and now I'll call you, and you'll unmute, and you'll speak to Moishy. So if you have a question that you'd like to ask Moishy in particular, we have time right now to do a few questions. Just raise your hand. You know how to raise the hand in the chat. There's a hand raising. I see Mrs. Steinberg has unmuted herself. Do you have any questions you wanted to ask?
That was excellent. Do you have a website where you have like tips and tools also?
I don't have a website, but I'm going to drop the PDF of this. Let me add that. How can I do that? I'm going to drop it in the chat.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Over here, does anyone have a particular question that they would like to ask our presenter, Moishy? Tova. Okay, I see Tova has raised her hand. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I have a quick question.
Sure.
Do you, it's for my
It's a little bit, I don't know if it makes a difference. Something is wrong with your screen or something. I don't know, it seems, okay, whatever. Okay,
It's fine.
fine. All right.
Okay, as long as you hear me. Moishy, do you
Yes.
physically go into a businesses and do like a full assessment, or is it all done virtually? I'm thinking of something specific in mind, like a company that potentially could use this type of service, but like it's not like a one-time phone call, like it would be a really long period of assessment before having to implement strategy. So do you offer that service?
100%. 100%. A lot of what we do can potentially happen virtually. When we work with anyone for, I would say, any more than 45 days, we have that in-person meetings because it's that much better that you can understand people in person.
So I would just say, but Moishy put his contact info here in right now in the chat. Take it and email him, and you could have a full conversation. Just because we only have a few minutes left, I'd love to, if there's anyone here right now on the chat who's actually trying to implement processes in their business and has like a particular question, I'd love to have that conversation right now. I think it's so important. Moishy also put his phone number if you want it. I think it's so important. You know, again, from CHY's standpoint, we've been working with so many entrepreneurs over the years, and you know, like Moishy brought up the E-Myth book. You know, so many people jump into their business because it's their passion and that's what they love doing. But you know, when it gets busy enough and they need to include other people because everything's up here in the head and everything's in the heart, it's a real challenge to be able to replicate, scale the business by replicating and get somebody to do exactly what you were doing, and you were the passionate person and doing the processes the way Moishy laid it out. And the fact that he broke it down so simply at the end. These are things that you could do on your own. You know, it's a tremendous thing, that it's a tool and a skill that people need to bring in. And I'm just curious if there's anyone here on here right now that maybe in the process that maybe has some particular questions. If anyone wants to speak up over here, we have 2 minutes left.
I'm having a hard time sharing the slide. Is there anywhere here that I can send it to you?
I'll email it. Yeah, send it to me and I will email it to
Okay.
everybody that registered. for the program.
I'll do that. I'll
Okay.
send it to you.
All right.
Perfect. Agradeci a Shikoyach, and I
Yes,
wish
okay,
anyone
yes.
lots of luck. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
If
Thank
anyone has
you.
any questions, feel free to reach out and rock on.
Thank you. Great. It was great.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful.
Everyone have a wonderful week and all the best.
See you
Thank you.
guys.
Take care.